to episode 3 in the Hannah Swensen Mystery with Recipes series. This series debuted last Bookmas, and I was going to do a lot throughout the year, and I don't know what happened. This is only episode 3 somehow, and I need to get a move on because there's 30 books in this series. With that being said, I'm hoping 2025 we can jump in and start doing these monthly, but this is going to be a spoiler-filled vlog where we are going to read through the Blueberry Muffin Murder. This is book 3 in the series, and there is a slew of different recipes throughout this book. And as we go through the book, try to uncover the mystery. If you don't know, this series is about Hannah. She owns a bakery in this small town in Lake Eden, Minnesota, and she keeps finding herself in the middle of mysteries. She's in a little bit of a love triangle. Things are happening, this, that, and the other. And she runs the bakery. And we will for sure be making the blueberry muffins because that's what this book is titled. But who knows? If there's anything savory in here, we'll make 3 recipes. And if there's only sweets, we will make 2. But what is this one about? Let's find out. Preparations are underway for Lake Eden, Minnesota's annual winter carnival, and Hannah Swensen is set to bake up a storm at the cookie jar. Too bad the honor of creating the official winter carnival cake went to the famous lifestyle maven Connie Mack, a half-baked idea in Hannah's opinion. She suspects Connie Mack is a lot like the confections she whips up on her cooking show, sweet, light, and scrumptious looking, but likely to leave a bitter taste in your mouth. Hannah is sassy. Hannah's suspicions are confirmed when Connie Mack's limo rolls into town. Turns out America's cooking sweetheart is bossy, bad-tempered, and downright domineering. Things finally boil over when Hannah arrives at the cookie jar to find the winter carnival cake burnt to a crisp, and Connie Mack lying dead in her pantry, struck down while eating one of Hannah's famous blueberry muffins. With the crime scene off limits, Hannah's only alternative is to cook up a plan to save her business by finding the killer herself. Includes 7 original cookie and dessert recipes for you to try. So I am excited to see where we find ourselves, and I love a muffin. We buy muffins every week at the grocery store, so I'm glad to make some of my own. Let's get into it. It's time, friends. I'm about to start this. I'm listening to the audio, and I'm going to listen to it while I'm working. And my plan is I'm going to take notes in like a Google Doc so that when it's time to chat, I can reference my notes and everything that has happened. This is book 3 in the Hannah Swensen Murder Mystery series with recipes, and I already have the oven preheated. I think we're only gonna make 2 recipes from this. I considered making the cream cheese grilled cheese, but it just like didn't sound good because I was looking through the recipes. In this book, we have got recipes for peanut butter melt, blueberry muffins, twin chocolate delights, little snowballs, grilled cheese sandwiches, Lisa's white chocolate supremes, short stack cookies, and multiple choice cookie bars. We're going to be making the blueberry muffins, of course, because we always make what is on the cover and the title, and then the short stack cookies. We're going to make the muffins today, and I'll probably make the cookies at a later date. I don't know that I'll make them today. Maybe I will make both today. Who knows? I am going to my friend's house tomorrow, and I could bring some of the muffins for the kids and some of the cookies because it was her husband's birthday yesterday. Could be cute. But the muffins is on like page 45, so that's like one of the first recipes, and the other one's towards the end, so I think that works out great. I have the oven preheated, and I'm honestly having, you guys are probably going to actually see this video pretty soon. I'm filming this on the 13th. You're going to probably see it very soon because as of right now, I don't have any videos scheduled for Bookmas. So I'm going to do a batch edit tonight, and this will be one of the videos that I edit. So I'm going to make both. I'm making both tonight. I'm committing to making both because I need to get this video up. So I'm working and having a miserable time because my body hurts, and so I love baking. Baking is something that is super fun to me. So I think having like a couple of breaks throughout the day to bake, because baking doesn't really take that long. It's like you just do it and you put it in the oven and then you check on it. So I think it'll be a nice little break in my day. So we're gonna get started. I am probably gonna check in with you guys on the 25s, like 25%, 50%, 75, and 100, as well as when we bake. Typically in my reading vlogs, I just check in at the halfway point, but there's usually 3 books minimum in a video, and it's not spoilers. So because this is spoilers, we will see. What are my predictions? Obviously, Hannah's going to find herself in some sort of stupid situation. I think we're going to continue exploring her love triangle with Mike and I know one's name is Norman, Mike and Norman. I was like, I know one has like an old man name, so we're probably gonna continue that. We're probably gonna have some shenanigans with her cat, with her sister, with her mom, her niece. I'm ready to get into it. Let us go, baby. Okay guys, we are in the kitchen. I'm trying to figure out a good angle for y'all because I am too lazy to go get my tripod, so y'all are on a board game. But we are going to get going on our first recipe of these blueberry muffins. It's so funny when you're listening to the audiobook and you have to like stop because, or like fast forward, because it like will just read you off all of the instructions for the muffins. But we are gonna, I need like something to sit on this to hold it open because it is just flopping over. But put a caramel on it. Nope, not heavy enough. Cool. Cool. This box of cookies. Sure. So, before we get into this, we are gonna get into talking about the book. So, I just want to go over a quick little character synopsis because there's so many characters in these books that it gets very confusing. We've got Hannah, she's our main character. Bakery owns the cookie jar. We've got Norman, it's one of her love interests / he's like the town dentist. His mom and Hannah's mom are friends and they're kind of constantly trying to get them together. In this particular story, we have Connie Mack. She is a famous TV chef who's literally a bitch and she dies. We've got Mike. He is the homicide detective, Hannah's other love interest. Andrea is Hannah's sister who helps at the bakery and has a daughter named Tracy. We've got Dolores, that's Hannah's mom. It's also so funny because my grandma's name is Dolores and one of my best friend's name is Andrea, so it just makes me laugh. And we've got Lisa. She works at the cookie jar with Hannah. Then in this one, we've got the mayor and his wife, which are involved in the carnival. We have Janie, who is a suspicious member of the staff. And we have Bill, who is Andrea's husband. So, I've got lots of notes. We start out with her literally laying in bed, cuddling with her cat in her heated blanket. And I was literally like, man, I wish I was just cuddling with my heated blanket right now. It's winter. It's very cold in the condo. Like, electricity's not working. But she is planning on making some baked goods, the blueberry muffins, for the winter carnival. This town of Lake Eden has like a really booming like summer and autumn and Christmas time. But after Christmas and New Year's, besides Valentine's Day, things really slow down, so they decided to start doing a winter carnival to try to drum up more business. There's a house next to the cookie jar that Hannah's mom and Norman's mom are like working together to make it be like a accurate reenactment from like 100 years ago where like the founders lived, so they're kind of working on that. Her mom doesn't really care about anything Hannah's dealing with. She literally only cares about this house that she's doing stuff with. We've gotten some snippets of this guy Greg, who Hannah went to school with. She had a crush on him in school, but he literally like pretends to like mug her. It was very strange behavior. But his business recently closed and his wife like moved back to Denver to live with her family, and he's gotten big into like stock trading, and like they allude to it being kind of sketchy. And this book was written in 2003, which we will get into. But I think Greg seems kind of suspicious. His behavior is very weird. We had our first recipe, which was for peanut butter melts. I did consider making those, but they seem just like basic peanut butter cookies, so I thought that was boring. And then we have Connie Mack. She's a famous baker, and she is making the cake for the winter festival. She has everything she owns is peach. Like, she has a peach clothes, peach limo with her name on it. She's literally a whack job, and she's so rude. Anytime she's trying to manipulate somebody into doing something, she's like, well, I'll take a picture with you and post it on like the internet. You can hang it up in your store. As if like anybody gives a shit, but everybody falls for it. Then we got to her making the blueberry muffins, and she made them with frozen blueberries, which makes me feel better that I'm using frozen. And she talks about how she uses blueberry pie filling in it so that every bite tastes like blueberry. Because I did wonder why, and they talk about how like usually blueberry muffins just taste plain until you get a bite with blueberry. And she's like, yeah, it makes them kind of purple, but I like the flavor. So that's exciting. The person who is delivering the cake that Connie had made for the festival gets into some sort of accident. Cake is destroyed. Connie fires him on the spot, and she needs somewhere to bake this cake. So she's like to Hannah, oh, I'll take a picture with you to hang up in the bakery. And Hannah's like, eye roll, I'm not hanging the picture, but whatever, you can use it. And I did want to mention that this was written in 2003. This is an issue I've run into with all of the books so far, is there's a big focus on weight and baked goods being bad for you and gaining weight. And she has her like assistant named Janie, and Janie is constantly being berated for her weight, which is really fucking stupid. So she's gonna stay there overnight cooking with Janie's gonna be there, and when Hannah gets there in the morning, the place is kind of like, the door is open, it's ransacked, and she finds Connie dead in the pantry, simply. With a muffin in her hand. And then Norman is able to kind of verify that it had to happen after a certain time because he had walked past the bakery and saw Connie and Janie in there. So that's helpful information, but Mike shows up, and he obviously is not letting Hannah go in there because it's a crime scene, but he's also not giving her any information on when she can get back in, and he's being kind of a dickhead. And then Dolores, her mom, comes in and is like, what's going on? Oh, Hannah, no man's gonna want you because you keep finding these dead bodies, blah, blah, blah. And then all she literally cares about is this house. She's like, oh, well, this is gonna ruin people coming to visit the house. So annoying. Jamie is also currently, I wrote Jamie, but it's Janie. Janie is currently missing. Her hotel room was cleaned out and she left, which makes her very suspicious. And Mike kind of threatens Hannah to not like try to involve herself in the case. So Hannah meets up with her sister, and they're on their way to go talk to some people. And her sister offers to help her with whatever they're gonna do. And they're keeping talk about how Andrea is eating so much and maybe she's pregnant, so that's info. They end up going to go talk to Sally at the inn because they need like a commercial sized baker or like ovens to bake for the festival. So they go to talk to Sally, she agrees, and she kind of gives them some kind of info that like maybe Janie and Connie's husband Paul might have had like an affair going on. Also, that there is infinite amount of people that could and would and should want Connie dead because she was horrible. Like, Janie is just one person. Janie, the person who, like, what's it called? Like, got into the accident and destroyed the cake, who she fired on the spot. Literally all the staff of the hotel, because she's been horrible to everybody. So it's kind of like difficult because literally everybody is a suspect. And that is where we are at. So we're gonna move into the muffins. We do have, the oven is preheating. I need butter to be melted. We need 1.5 sticks, which I will just be, 1, 2, 3, 4. I will just be melting in the microwave because I cannot be bothered to like melt it via the stovetop. Can't be bothered. So we're just gonna get our ingredients. First things first. Butter, sugar and flour, of course. Sugar. And I have backup of both because last time we did one of these videos, I ran out of one of the two and it was really tragic. Sugar and flour, check. 2 eggs. Bada bing, bada boom. 2 eggs, baking powder and salt. salt, baking powder, milk. I did get this little thing of milk, and then I ended up needing milk for other things, so it was kind of pointless. Blueberry pie filling, blueberries, and then we're gonna be making a crumb topping, so I'm gonna need another half of a stick of butter. Should have just got out 2 sticks. Okay, my battery died, so I went and got the tripod because I had to take off my little tripod anyway. So we got our pan. I'm gonna get the butter that needs to be completely, well, when do I need this? Grease this, eggs. Okay, we'll melt it when we get there, I guess. Okay. We need our mixer, of course. Get my big old mixing bowl out. Okay, so what is the first course of action? It says to grease the bottoms only of a 12-cup muffin pan or lined with cake papers, which is the way we're gonna do it, because they do have cupcake liners, muffin liners. We've got liners, so that's what we're gonna do. This doesn't say how many this makes. I don't know if it just makes the 12 or what the tea is, but I guess we'll find out. Just says to preheat the oven to 375, which we've done. Love it. I've had mainly successes with the recipes from these books. I've had like one thing that I didn't love, so. Okay. Then add the beaten eggs, baking powder, and salt and mix thoroughly. Oh, melt butter. Okay, I gotta melt the butter, and then we're gonna mix these things in with the butter, is what I'm gathering. So, missed that step somehow. Melt butter and then mix in sugar. Probably gonna melt the butter and then just pop it in there. Then add the beaten eggs. You could pre-beat the eggs. Okay. Baking powder and salt and mix thoroughly. Easy breezy, beautiful cover. I should probably get out my measuring cups and spoons. That would probably be a great course of action. I'm also gonna get the eggs beaten. I'm gonna beat their ass. So we're gonna start by getting the butter melting. I don't know, I'm gonna put it in for like 40 seconds and see where we're at with that. In the meantime, I'm gonna put our eggs in here and beat them. Because it will probably get a bit closer to y'all now that we have a different camera angle. 1 egg. Hate touching eggs. I mean, I don't think anybody's like a lover of it. Okay, that sounds like bad in the microwave, so maybe that'll be done. Maybe 40 seconds is way too much. So wash my hands because I touched raw egg. It's not even remotely melted. I mean, I'd say it's like halfway melted, but definitely have more to go. Need a fork to quickly beat our eggs. So you can hear my husband, I do apologize. Prior to me doing this, I asked him to not scream, but he's actively screaming because he's rude. Okay, eggs are beaten. You're gonna need 4th cup. Tablespoon probably or something. This is a 1/2 teaspoon, that's fine. We'll figure it out from there. Not quite done yet. Almost fully melted. Actually, I'm just gonna count this as good enough. So, we have melted our butter. So I'm gonna put it in here. It's like a little bit chunky. It's fine. So we're gonna do that and we're gonna mix in the sugar, which we need 1 full cup of sugar. This is a 4th cup, so I'm just gonna do this, right? Mix in the sugar, we need 1 cup. So 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 1 cup of sugar. And then mix it. So I'm gonna go put this on the mixer until it's mixed up. That is gonna be followed up by the eggs, the baking powder, and the salt. Okay, this looks like lemon curd if I'm being so honest with you. So we're gonna put in the beaten eggs. Oh my god, I'm looking at that, makes me want to throw up. Beaten eggs, baking powder, we need 2 teaspoons. We've got our teaspoon. I'm gonna throw in 2 of these. And the salt, which we need 1/2 teaspoon of. Do I have like a thing of salt anywhere up in here? Oh, it's buried. Okay. Let me go unbury it. It's behind all the extracts, you know? Okay. So then we need 1/2 of a teaspoon of salt. Okay. Now after that, we are going to mix thoroughly. So I'm gonna go put this back on the mixer, but we have a very interesting step in the meantime. So now this is telling me to put 1 tablespoon of flour in a plastic bag with the cup of blueberries. Okay. We've got this. 1 tablespoon of flour to coat the blueberries in flour, evidently. I don't really know what this is about, but it's what we're told to do. It also says I didn't need to thaw these, but I did thaw them, I fear. So, I mean, I don't think it's gonna hurt the process, but I just assumed they would need to be, and I assumed wrong. So we need, in a plastic bag with your 1 cup of blueberries. Okay. 1/4 of a cup. 1/2 of a cup. 3/4 of a cup. 1 cup. I need to go put this in the sink because it looks like a murder scene. any further. And it says to zip this up and shake it to coat the blueberries. Shake it gently to coat them and then leave them in the bag for the time being. I think this has something to do with preventing them from sinking to the bottom, but I could be sorely mistaken as to like the reasoning why we're doing that. Not fully committed to my idea and my reasoning. Okay. Okay. Moving into page 2. This is a 3-page recipe. Add the remaining flour. So we're gonna add some flour to here, which is add the remaining 2 cups of flour. Okay. I'm gonna grab a half cup because it fits better. So I'm gonna throw in my 2 cups of flour into here. Add your remaining 2 cups of flour to the bowl and then mix it in with add half the remaining 2 cups. Okay, so add 1 cup. 1/2. 1 cup. And half of the milk. How much milk total do we need? We need 1/2 cup total, so I'm gonna put in 1/4 of a cup of milk. This is where I need a sous chef to do my cleaning up. So then we're gonna do 1/4 of a cup of milk. I know this is not how you're supposed to measure liquids, but my liquid measuring cup is in the dishwasher and it's gross. So we're gonna do this, mix it, and then add the other half of the flour and milk. I will come back to you when both those things are done. Okay, now it's time for what is dubbed the fun part, which is adding a 1/2 cup of pie filling to this. I'm not gonna use the rest of it for anything. I don't have a use for it, so I do wish you could buy smaller quantities, but it's fine. It says this will make your dough look blue, but don't worry, it'll be fine, is basically what the instructions are telling me regarding this, which, I mean, I knew it would be fine. I'm not that concerned. Okay, I should have done this with a rubber scraper. Definitely gonna have Chris taste them with me because he was very curious about the pie filling aspect. But it makes sense because it is true when you have a blueberry muffin or a blueberry pancake, the only part that tastes blueberry is the bit that has the blueberry in it. So we're gonna go get this on the mixer. Let's go. make the crumb coating. It says in here that you can use hard butter by putting it in a food processor to do this. So that's what I'm gonna do because I didn't have the forethought to do this any other way. So I'm gonna put the butter in here as well as the other ingredients, which is just flour and sugar. It's not like a whole ton because this is just like a little crumb topping for the muffins. There's also instruction that if there's extra batter to make like a little side cake. So we have the butter. We need 1/3 of a cup of flour and 1/2 of a cup of sugar. So nothing crazy. Okay, so this is a 1/3 cup. So we need 1/3 cup of flour. This is how far the cord for this little mini, I only have a mini food processor, and this is as far as the cord reaches, which is why I'm over here. And then 1/2 of a cup of sugar. Where's my other 1/2 cup? I have literally 2 sets of cups, and I don't know where my other 1/2 cup is. Okay, we can use this 1/4 cup twice. It's just, you know, got a little bit of milk in it, so just dry it off. So we need 1/2 of a cup of sugar. Okay, so we have that in the food processor. And you're just gonna make it go. I'm gonna do like bursts probably until it's like crumbly, until it's like a crumb coating, a crumble topping. Oh no. There we go. Okay, the butter is just turning into balls. That the mini size of this food processor is causing some issues. So I'm just gonna, I should have cut up the butter, but I didn't, so maybe that'll help. I don't know. I do not know. The batter, when they say blue, they mean gray. This may be dumped out and done by hand. Okay, the food processor, a mini one, does not work for this situation. It's fine, we will just do this and I'll crumble it with my hands. Which is more just like icky for me, you know? Okay. We are very capable of pivoting around these parts when it's something I know how to do. So I know how to make it crumble. You're just gonna kind of break it up, break it up. The butter is definitely more softened now from being in there at the very least. It's literally just butter, sugar, and flour, nothing crazy. Okay. just kind of breaking up the huge chunks of butter. Pretty much got it pretty good at this point. Okay, I'm gonna wipe my hands off. Wow, my hands could not feel more greasy if they tried, but that's just, you know, we bathed in butter. Okay, so wait till you see the color of this. It's giving gray more than blue, but that's fine. Our next step in this involves us having to actually mix some stuff by hand. Whenever you're putting fruit into a baked good, you don't really want to mix it in with an electric mixer because it pulverizes it too much. So you just want to nicely fold the stuff in. There's like instructions on how to freeze the remaining blueberry pie filling. I'm not doing that because I honestly am lazy and I probably won't make these again. So we are going to, we did that, and once it's combined, fold in the flour coated blueberries. I also just spilled sugar all over the floor. So I'm going to toss these in and we are going to fold them in nicely. You don't want to mix aggressively, you just want to fold them in. Until they're nicely incorporated. It's really against my nature to not go in super aggressive, so, you know, but hey. Okay, they're pretty incorporated. I need to vacuum. Okay, cleaned up my workspace a little bit because we were looking a mess. Okay, so this says fill the muffin tins 3/4 and then tells me what to do with the leftover, if there is, as well as we don't want to fill it all the way up because we want room for the topping. Not really sure what 3/4 means. And if we have extra dough, I think I'm gonna do 1 heaping, dude. So I'll do a little bit extra in these ones because I don't feel like I did heaping. A heaping scoop is about what I'm looking for, I think. Excuse you. Okay. I do have a bread pan. It's not mini, but I'm definitely gonna have quite a bit of leftover batter, dough, whatever we wanna call it. What's the difference between batter? I know it's like cake batter and cookie dough. Is it muffin dough or muffin batter? It calls it dough in the instructions, which does worry me slightly that maybe mine's more liquidy than it should be, because I would call this a batter personally. I meant to do a little bit extra for that one and I accidentally did a lot of it, so. Okay. It says a small tea bread pan. I literally don't know what that means. Let me go assess the pans that I do have because I don't know what a tea bread pan is. I'll just set my timer for a little bit shorter to hopefully prevent it from burning. But if it burns, it burns. Kind of seems like a lot of leftover batter, so maybe it'll be fine. Okay, it's definitely not a lot for a whole thing, but hey. I'll check on this after like, I don't know, 10 minutes, because I think it's like 25 to 30 minute bake time. So I'll check this little thing after 10 minutes, I guess. You best believe I'm gonna beg my husband to come clean all of my baking stuff before I get to the cookies today. Because I am not feeling like taking the time to clean. Okay, so that's the leftover. If I had a second muffin tin, I would have just made more muffins. But anywho, we're gonna sprinkle the crumb topping. It says the bread thing should take longer than the muffins, but because mine is so small, we're not gonna go with that, but we're gonna do, I don't know like how much topping is to go on these. It doesn't really say, it just says to sprinkle it on. I feel like I was supposed to do more than this with it, just based on how much I have left. So I'll go and add more after I do the bread loaf pan thing. Whichever ones of these look a little bit light, we'll just add some more crumble, because it really gives no true instruction, just to put it on there, whatever. Okay. So we're gonna pop this in the oven, and I will come back to check the cake thing in like 15 minutes. Because these take 25 to 30. So I'm gonna get this in and go from there. Well, I'm cutting this part. Okay, so I came and checked after like 15 minutes. Everything was still raw. The muffins are now perfectly cooked. It says to put up the tray on a wire rack for 30 minutes. But the loaf is still very much so raw. So we're gonna keep cooking that probably for another 10 minutes minimum. And yeah, but it says to let them cool on a tray for 30 minutes. So I'm gonna set a timer in here for 30 minutes, because I'm gonna set one on my phone for 10 minutes for the loaf to come check her out again. This is like the most annoying part, is playing the is it done game. But I put a thing in this one because this is like the biggest muffin, and it was definitely done. So it turns out I'm coming at you guys at the like thirds. We're about 64% of the way through, and I came at you guys the first time at like 30%. So many things have happened, okay? So there's kind of like suspicion that Janie may have been having an affair with Paul, who is Connie's husband, and that maybe she's on the run because she killed Connie in self-defense. That was like a running theory that they had going for a bit. And then they start talking to Alex, who is Sally from the Inn's kind of like assistant, and they try to get some info on her because she and Janie had been chatting. Maybe she would know where she is. There's continued weird comments about Andrea's eating, like how much she's eating and this, that, and the other thing. Like, is she pregnant? She's eating so much. And I just feel like we shouldn't be commenting on what women are eating. Again, this was written in 2003. So there's that. Another thing that's really funny on the audiobook is like in between chapters, it'll be like end of disc 3. And it is just really interesting. But they're kind of sus about Alex because Alex has only really been working there for a little bit of time. She doesn't really know Janie. Everybody else in the town knows Janie. She's from that town. They all went to school with her, but Alex isn't from there. So her over-the-top crying reaction to Janie being missing seems suspicious. So they're kind of sus about her. They also keep making comments about the killer being a him, like they're calling it a him, which is making me as the reader think that it's gonna be a woman, and that's gonna be like the big reveal is, ooh! So that's my current thoughts and feelings on that. Also, nobody gives a shit that Connie is dead. Literally, I don't even think her husband cares. Literally, nobody cares because she sucked so bad. Both her husband and the driver who crashed the car, he basically... I've already asked you to not scream, so... So the guy who was driving the cake, basically, he was almost hit by a semi-truck, so he had to veer off to not get killed. And so the one who she immediately fired, he has a solid alibi, so it's definitely not him. Her husband also has a solid alibi, absolutely not him. Mike, for some reason, is thinking that Norman is sus because he and Connie kind of didn't get along, but literally nobody did. But also, it's kind of like thought that he is suspicious of Norman because he wants Janie for himself, or because he wants Hannah for himself. I hate Mike. I am full team Norman. Mike is a douche dickhead. Hate him. I literally wrote, Mike is so annoying. He literally said this statement, men understand each other more than a woman could. Hannah was at least pissed by this comment, but oh my god, no. Hannah was then asked to make the cake. She's not good at cakes, evidently, which makes me happy because I'm not good at cakes either. So she's not good at decorating cakes, so she makes these things called like snowballs instead. And then basically Ray, the driver, he went to like this truck stop and got on a bus and left. So they went to the truck stop to talk to these twins, Sean and Dawn, to discuss info and gave him their business card to have the bus driver call them to verify his nonsense. Hannah's mom is continuing to be annoying. She's having Tracy, Andrea's daughter, call Norman Uncle Norman and calling Norman's mom Grandma. Like very pushing this like agenda of her and Norman being together because she doesn't want Hannah to be alone, which as a strong independent woman, pisses me off. But she did apologize, so that was really cool, really great. We find out that Connie has a bunch of retail locations. They go talk to one, and they find out basically that the show, they're like talking to her about how like the store is gonna close now that Connie's dead, and she's like, nah, not gonna happen. She doesn't even run the stores. Her husband, Paul, does. So we find out that he's kind of in charge of the stores. We also find out that Alex, who's been working at the inn, actually this isn't her real job. She has a full-time job, and she had 3 weeks of vacation time she had to take, and she's choosing to spend her vacation time working at the inn. It's very suspicious, weird behavior. But Hannah does find out where Janie is, and she goes to find her. She kind of finds her, and Janie doesn't know that Connie is dead. I'm not even a little bit suspicious of Janie. Basically, she kind of tells them that Connie got pissed at her, accused her of sleeping with her husband, even though Janie has a boyfriend who's like literally getting ready to propose to her, wouldn't listen to what Janie had to say, literally was like throwing things at her. So Janie stormed off and is like, we're not doing this. Because it's kind of like this toxic relationship between them where like Connie will fire her, rehire her, fire her, rehire her. And she's like, I'm done. And apparently this is very normal behavior for Connie. So she agrees to come back to town for questioning, and Hannah's like, you can stay with me, super nice. They also start talking about how, like, she goes to talk to the lady at the bookstore, and she's like, oh my god, yeah, we still have these copies that Connie pre-signed. They're gonna go for so much. Very weird that they're, like, hype about that. And with talking, they find out that she's like, this is probably gonna be her last book. I think they were talking with Paul, her husband, and he's like, actually, no, like, there's at least 3 more books in the works, and they have, like, many years worth of episodes of the show just, like, on backlog. Which comes with this, like, Hannah starts to get suspicious of that. Like, did the, like, network plan for her to die? Or, like, were they thinking she was gonna die? Why would they have this many years of, like, backlogged shows? Very weird. Also, Hannah's cat hates Mike and her mom. And I hate Mike and her mom. So, like, animals know when people suck, truly. So Norman gets mugged. This is making me think it's maybe back to that beginning with Greg, who, like, pretended to rob Hannah, because, like, I don't know why else that would have been in the beginning. So maybe it is a dude, and it's just 2003, and we just assume it's men. So basically, he is at work, he gets mugged, somebody attacks him, like hits him with a baseball bat, but then somebody drives up because they forgot something, one of his assistants forgot something and drove back and was able to get him to the hospital. So but like the doctor was like, if he was hit like a little bit differently, he would have instantly died. So I'm like, is it Greg because he did like this fake mugging at the beginning? Very strange, but they're pretty sure he was like deliberately attacked because he's one of the suspects for Connie's murder. Additionally, during that time of the murder, he was in his office like testing some equipment out because he's a dentist, and there were flashes. So now the running theory is that the Connie's murderer thinks that Norman has a photo of them, and so they want to take out Norman. So they think that since Norman didn't die, the attacker's gonna come back, and they kind of want to use Norman as bait. So that's kind of where we're at. I'm sure there's gonna be some weird shenanigans, but I'm gonna flip out the muffins. I'm not doing that on camera because I'm nervous. And the loaf, I think I'm gonna just wrap up the loaf and gift it to my friend Audrey and her family, because like, the kids can have it for breakfast and stuff. So I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna see if my husband is good to come try the muffins. Okay guys, we have my husband here.
And I am the official taste tester.
We're gonna go test it. Do you want, they're like regular size, you can eat your own.
What?
You can eat your own.
Okay.
It has like a crumble top.
Okay.
And yeah, it's like a, I feel like they're overcooked, but they were raw as fuck when I first checked them, so I put them in for a few more minutes. But we will see, I guess. But
okay.
It might just be the crumble topping is making it seem that way.
Yeah, maybe.
Because the crumble topping is obviously supposed to be a bit more crispy.
I'm ready when you are.
Okay.
First bite. Mmm.
The smell and the taste kind of reminds me of crunch berries.
Does it? I don't know. I don't think it's super blueberry. It's kind of subtle still, even though it's like literally all in it, you know?
It said the longer they sit, the more like blueberry it's gonna be.
Mmm. So these are banging though.
You like them?
I like it a lot. Like the outside's super crispy, but the inside's actually really soft.
Mm-hmm. What do you rate it?
9.
Wow.
Yeah, these are banging. I like it a lot.
You heard it here first, folks. We have finished this book, and you guys can't, I mean, you can see like a little bit. I have the ingredients out for our next thing. My husband did go to the store to get me some syrup. I know this is not real maple syrup. I don't like real maple syrup, so it's expensive and it would literally be thrown away. So we have this. But let's continue with our story here. So first off, Mike is just continuing to be awful. I'm not really sure why Hannah is even torn between him and Norman because he sucks. There continued to be very weird comments about bodies. whatever. Janine and Norman were both cleared of all crimes, and Greg came back into the picture. Okay, we also find out that Janie is adopted, which was like a big like break in the case, because basically they end up finding this guy dead in the river, and while they're learning to search all these things, they find out that Janie was adopted. And then they kind of are connecting the pieces, and then they come to the conclusion that Alex is Janie's biological mother, and Paul, Connie's husband, is Janie's dad. Oh my God. And so Janie he like changed his will and put Janie in the will, and so that kind of set Connie on this rampage. Then they're doing all this investigative stuff at the mall, which is where Greg used to have his shop. We also find out that he's been lying about everything. He's not doing this stock betting. He doesn't even literally does not have a computer. He and his wife are getting divorced. Everything he's basically said to Janie is a lie. And so, you know, but then we find out that basically Connie's like retail stores have this like non-compete thing with the mall that they're located in. And because Greg's store sold like bakeware, he got kicked out of the mall essentially. And TLDR, it was Greg. I knew it from the jump. I knew it the second we learned about Greg that it was Greg. It was Greg. But her sister is pregnant, and her mom's opening an antique shop. So that's some info we have going into the next book. But we are gonna get started now on these maple cookies. We do have our ingredients. It says in the beginning to not preheat the oven because this has to chill for at least an hour, which works out fine for me because I'm currently working. And so I figure I'm like nearly done with what I want to get done today. And typically I like work myself to death, but today I'm like not doing that. So I'm gonna get what like I need to do, plus a tiny bit extra, and then I'm gonna stop and wrap Christmas presents and have a good night. And so I figured we could get these made and then, or get the dough made, and then I can bake them while I'm doing decorations. So we have all of our ingredients. We need 3 sticks of butter, which is dramatic, sugar, 2 eggs, syrup, baking soda, salt, this is some homemade vanilla that my friend made me, and flour, as well as some extra sugar. So that's basically that. So the first thing I need to do is melt the butter. So I'm sure this is gonna make some crazy sounds in the microwave again, but hey. I think I'm gonna use a plate instead of the regular bowl, just so that it fits better, honestly, because 3 sticks of butter is kind of crazy business. Does it say like how much this yields? No? Okay. So, yeah. Yeah, it says that they taste exactly like pancakes slathered in maple syrup and butter. I mean, there's a lot of butter in it, but it says that they need to chill for at least an hour, which I know is like you're supposed to chill cookie dough in general so that they don't spread. So I'm sure it has something to do with that, especially with how much butter is in them. But if this is what they want us to do, that's what we're gonna do. I'm putting it in for a minute because that is a lot of butter. My husband is a sweetie angel and he cleaned everything for us. So we're gonna be mixing the butter with the sugar. So I'm just gonna put the sugar in immediately. We need 2 cups of sugar. So this is a 1/2 cup. So, you know, 1/2 cup, full cup, 1/2 cup. It wasn't quite full cup. So 2 cups of sugar. I'm pretty sure I have more sugar on deck. So I'm just going to, while we're waiting for the butter, fill the sugar jar. It's literally already almost all the way filled back. Cool. Let me check on our butter situation. Not even close. Putting it in for another, not 6 minutes. That would be crazy business. Okay, so we've got the sugar. We're gonna mix this with the butter. And then it says let it cool and add in the eggs. And then add the syrup, the baking soda, the salt, and the vanilla. Mix it up. And then add the flour and mix. And then just chill it for at least an hour. That's all the instructions we are being given. So then whenever we get it out of the fridge, we're gonna roll them into balls and roll it into sugar and put them on a cookie sheet and flatten them with a spatula and cook for 10 to 12 minutes. Cool on the cookie sheet for no more than 1 minute, otherwise they will stick. I feel like they're only being 1/2 of a cup of syrup. Maple syrup feels like they're not gonna be that syrup mapley, but whatever. I also need to pre-beat the eggs. I don't really know what difference that makes. If you are a baker and you know, please tell me, because that was like required in both of these dishes and I'm not really sure what that's about, truly. This has got to be done. Okay. We've got so much butter. 3 sticks of butter and 2 cups of sugar. I bet you this is also gonna look like lemon curd. I'm gonna go get this on the mixer. It looks like he did not clean my paddle, but I've got others. I've got other paddles. I will check in with you guys when that is melted and cooled. In the meantime, I'm gonna whisk up the eggs. Okay, here she is. It's like still a little warm, but it's not like warm enough that it's gonna cook the egg, which is what I think the issue is. So we're gonna add in our 2 beaten eggs. I don't know if it's important to mix in between, but it says to, so we will do so. The next step is going to be to add the syrup, the soda, the salt, and the vanilla, and it says to spray the measuring cup with like, it says Pam specifically, but like cooking spray to prevent it from sticking. So I did that. That should be good. Okay, continuing with looking like lemon curd. So I'm gonna add 1/2 of a cup of syrup. I mean, it's still kind of sticking to the sides. I don't think that that was really like the best of tips. I'm gonna add a little bit more, because why not? Okay. Got those done, and then so we're gonna add that. We're gonna add the baking soda, which is 4 teaspoons. Kind of feels like a lot, but okay. One, 2, 3. 4 teaspoons of that, okay. The salt, we need 1 teaspoon of salt. Okay. And the vanilla. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Smells so good. Okay. Got that taken care of. So we do that and we're gonna mix it all up, and then it's just adding in flour. So give this a good mix. I forgot the syrup was in there and I'm like, why is it so brown? Oh my god, that was a jump scare. Doesn't really smell like anything, but okay. So then add the flour and mix. I feel like I shouldn't add all the flour at once, but it also doesn't say to do it in like sections, but whatever. So it's 4 cups of flour. You can come in, I am recording, but it's like...
I was gonna just say hello, and how is the baking going?
Well, these cookies have to chill, so I'm making the dough and then I'm gonna put it in the fridge while I finish work for the day, and then I'll bake them later. Because I'm planning on not killing myself today with work because I had such a bad day yesterday, and so I'm going to stop and then like wrap presents tonight.
And you deserve to have a little break from work because you've been working hard and you're a badass bitch?
Something like that.
Something like that.
This is all flour, so I can't refill her because it takes 4 cups of flour. And we put 2 in there. Okay. This thing can definitely fit in here too. There's plenty of room. And then I did 2 cups of flour so far. We need to do Tour. So 2 more cups of flour. Because it's cookie dough, it's definitely gonna be like way less wet than the muffins. But I also realized I didn't give you my rating. Chris gave them a 9 out of 10. I'd say probably like a 7. A 7 on first bite. I think that the instructions explicitly, I need to go do this over here because if I bring it over here, there's going to be a huge mess. The instructions explicitly state that it gets more mapley it gets more blueberry as it sits in an airtight container. So I'm hoping that tomorrow they'll take even more blueberry because despite there being like a whole like thing with like using the pie filling, they tasted even less blueberry than like a standard blueberry muffin to me. So I would just like more of that blueberry flavor to come through. So I can't really give a full thought until I am able to tell how I feel, or be able to taste it at its best potential, I guess. What the heck? Oh my god, it just sprayed all over me. I made a fatal error. Okay. I'm guessing it's because of the syrup, but it's a very sticky dough for a cookie. Also probably why it needs to chill. But here it is. It smells literally like nothing. Tastes like maple. Tastes like syrup. I've got this non-sealing lid. Just gonna, yeah, it says it's non-sealing, but like, I don't know, it clicks on. And I'm gonna put her in the fridge. It definitely tastes mapley. So that's good. What the fuck happened to my fridge? there to chill, and I will check in with you guys when I am done working and ready to put them in the oven. So at least an hour. Okay guys, it's been hours. And we are going to finish up our cookies. So we can now for sure preheat the oven. That's something we're able to do at this juncture. We have a couple of trays here. I should use parchment paper, but I'm just going to. On the other tray, I have more trays as well. Whatever we need. Oh man, that was way too long. Or way too wide? I don't know. If you don't know the trick is to crumple the parchment paper to get it to lay flat. Okay, so I'm gonna get a little dish and fill it with some sugar for the rolling purposes. I'll leave the measuring spoon out in case I need more. My husband did his first ever attempt at making homemade hot chocolate. Did not go well. So if you guys have any homemade hot chocolate recipes, drop it down below. Would love to find one. So we're gonna get this out. It says walnut-sized balls. I don't know what that is, and y'all are gonna die. One moment. Okay, so I'm well aware of how annoying the sound of that is, so I will most likely, you guys can't even see me even a little bit. Oh my god. So I will most likely be doing this as a time lapse, but it's definitely stiffer now. It looks really weird. It feels really weird. It looks and feels like fudge, if I'm being honest with you. But hey, I in fact looked up this whole walnut nonsense, and it said 1 to 1.5 tablespoons is how big a walnut is. So I have got a thing. I'm for sure gonna need more pans because this is so much dough. These pans look like they've been through the water. Okay, I'll deal with that. Anywho, so we're gonna do this. I'll do one with you guys. It says to do the dough. So here it is, sure. Well, as long as they're all the same size, it should be fine. That seems too big, but we're going with it. Roll this, and then roll it in white sugar. Put it on the thing, and then flatten it with a spatula. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna get it done. Okay guys, I think instead of making like a million cookies, because that's like already almost 2 dozen, I think I'm just gonna scoop the rest of the nonsense into a baggie and freeze it. And then if the cookies come out and they're horrible, I'll just throw it away. So, they're baking. I'm gonna get this scooped in and I'll check in with you guys when they are done. I wish I could tell you that these didn't go terribly wrong, but I don't know what happened, but they went terribly wrong. I clearly made them too big, but they got so flat. They taste like nothing. They literally have no flavor. It tastes like chocolate chip cookie with no chocolate chips. Here it is. It's bad. And you know, it's really funny because the only recipes that I have not liked are different cookies. The chocolate chip cookies from episode 1 were decent, but I made what was called like a Highlander cookie bar last time, and that was not very good. But the strawberry shortcake was good, and then this time the blueberry muffins were good, but the cookie wasn't good. And it's just funny because Miss Hannah works at a bakery called The Cookie Jar. So for the cookies to keep failing us is really tragic. But that is going to be everything for today's video. I gave the book a 3. All of the books in this series are a 3 in my mind. Like, I'm not the biggest murder mystery girl, but I do think the inclusion of the recipes is just so much fun. But that's going to be everything, friends. I will see you tomorrow. Bye!